Okay.
Hold on a second. Good evening. My name is Frank Allen. I will be your host tonight on Stars International.
No.
Okay. All set. Go right ahead again.
There's something else we need to talk about, and that's on May 1st, they threw me to the ground and broke my hip. That incident happened 4 days after I started talking about something that they don't want exposed, and that's the artificial body technology. The Department of Defense, and they're building an artificial human body. They're replacing biology with NASA's synthetic biology. I started talking about it. They wanted me shut up, so they broke my hip. Today was the first day I've been out of the house in 2 months, and we need to talk about what's going on. The TIs have no idea that this is going on. I hear people talking about their knee joints and this and that. Last night, I think it was on the call, perhaps it was the night before, somebody was talking about how they manipulated his foot, the tendons and muscles in his foot so his foot wouldn't move. In 2010, University of California, Berkeley, if you want to check their catalog, the engineering department, they developed artificial bones, tendons, joints, everything. It came out of the engineering lab at Berkeley. They worked with the National Science Foundation. 90% of the population does not have their original body parts. 90%, at least. They don't even look, people don't even look human to me anymore. The first organ they removed from my body was my kidneys in 2010. UC San Francisco developed an artificial kidney device, the LROD, which was immediately put in me. Since 2010, they've been removing everything else in my body. And they want me shut up, and I'm not going to be quiet about this anymore because TIs need to know what's happening to them. And they don't have a clue.
Oh, we are all in the know, so to speak, pretty much.
About this, Frank?
Oh yeah, my
They
niece
can do a
actually.
number of different things.
Yeah.
We don't have biology anymore. NASA claims that they're cleaning up the biology by disposing of humans and building an artificial body. You know.
Have you ever heard Rhonda Pence's her testimony? She had the same thing I had. We both had sisters that their eye color changed. This is not contacts. Their eye colors changed overnight.
Yes, they have artificial eyeballs with a camera with a zoom lens. That's how they're able to see out of our eyes. I have 2 paragraphs on this I put in my lawsuit. Oh, yeah. It's not a contact lens. We have artificial eyeballs. Maybe not all of us, but I do.
Yeah, we're aware.
It's so sick what's going on. It's so sick. And like I said, after they broke my hip, I haven't been able to go out, so I went out today for the first time. And I'm looking at everyone, and I recognize it because of what they've done to me. And I've studied this since 2010 when I realized what was going on. It's horrible what they're doing to people. It's horrible. The senior citizen population and the lower socioeconomic underclasses, they're all being taken out. Primarily those 2 categories of people.
If that would seem to be the what is going on, I will give you a reason. We are in the know. We know what's going on. We've been around for a while. They don't like the fact that we're so knowledgeable about so many things. So
Yeah, they don't like it at all.
no, they don't like that at all. So
And it's happening to the young too. 10-year-olds, 8-year-olds.
yes, and that's
It's children. They're going after the small children. My
yes,
grandchildren.
yes, they are, and these are the people that they're going to grab now or try to and train for the future. And it is really sick. A friend of mine and colleague has a 5-year-old son, and he was recently running down the stairs and screaming they're trying to get me, and he's saying bad things, and so
Yeah, no,
yeah.
watching a child do is a nightmare. What a nightmare.
Really? That was, yes, my nephew's 3-year-old went running into his mommy's room. Bad people chasing me, mommy, bad people. They're trying to get me. The same thing, Frank.
Yeah, I've seen it, so yes, I agree with you like 1,000%.
Me as well. But the way we fight for our children is the way we fight for our future. So
Yeah.
I like that. We'll have to use that somewhere.
Yeah, that's good. But the thing is, my experience has been that it falls on deaf ears when I try to explain this to the family. So I don't even try anymore. I don't try.
yeah, but you planted a seed. Later on, if somebody else says something and somebody else says something, you planted that seed. Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. Oh my God. Yeah, they wanted me shut up. I feel they could walk today. I had to push one of those shopping carts, or else I wouldn't have been able to walk. My knee joints. They had me implanted with prosthetic knee joints. And of course, all these artificial joints attached to the artificial bones. So it's easy as pie for them to do anything they want because they're not dealing with biology anymore. They're dealing with man-made devices in our bodies, man-made bone coming out of the National Science Foundation. And Berkeley, you've got to look at their catalog. I think it's 2010. Oh, my God.
Pretty soon they'll be able to 3D print somebody.
I'm sure they can. They've been 3D printing ears, nose, and everything else for almost a decade now. They have human on a chip. That's how they're able to do everything now in mass production. They were doing it piecemeal, but it's a computer. It's a digital cyber-human system, and they have a chip, human on a chip. When they did my kidneys, it was kidney on a chip. But if you look, you'll probably see somebody if you Google human on a chip. And all this stuff is coming out of the best universities: Berkeley, Stanford, Carnegie Mellon, the MIT. I'm contacting the president of my local university this week. I'm going to see if I can do a question and answer seminar on non-consensual human experimentation. I've been up to see him.
Those guys. Be careful.
What?
Up at Berkeley, you're going to try to do that?
No, Bob, they killed me in an instant. But they watch me so carefully. No, I live in Vermont now. I left Berkeley. I moved away and when I realized what they were doing to me.
Yeah, be careful. Take somebody with you.
I know. My best intentions are I probably shouldn't do it because this time they will kill me. If they want me, shut up. When I left Berkeley and came back here to Vermont, both Lockheed Martin moved in and Stanford Research Institute. They both moved in with me. So they pretty much have taken over the university. I want to do it, but I'm reluctant. Let's put it that way.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure can.
Yeah.
I was just gonna. I've been listening. I'm having internet trouble, so I called in, but I'll get on the internet as soon as I can and see the chat. And hi, everybody, it's Ashley.
Hi.
Hello.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
No. Hi, Ashley. Hi, it's Vanetta. Hi, everybody. Hi. Yeah, I'm having internet trouble too, but I'm still going to talk to you guys because it's been a week, so you can't shut me up. And whoever was talking from please, whatever you do, don't go by yourself.
Yeah, me. I know. Like I said, I'm reluctant, but they started the human experimentation at the University of Vermont. Like I said, when I moved back here, Lockheed moved in with me, and so did SRI. And those are the two corporations that went after me out there. And they weren't going to let me go, so they came back here. But
do you
know.
Do you have any friends there, even non-TIs, who are somewhat aware of what's going on with you?
I have family. There? That's why I came. That's why I came back here. I grew up here, so I have family, and yes, I have some friends, but I wouldn't put their lives in jeopardy. Should I not do that? I don't know. I'll figure it out.
I can't tell you what to do. I just want you to be safe. But I do understand that you want it to come to, you don't want them to continue to do what they do and think that they can get away with it. I do understand that. You want to
when I came back here, they took over the university. This is a state agricultural college, the University of Vermont. It's now neuroscience laboratories. The whole university campus has been transformed.
Ma'am, can I tell you something about my state? They're taking people and giving them the alternative sentencing program in the court system, and then they come in the state vehicles like the Arkansas vans and the little short bus things, and they come and pick them up and drop them off. So they're using state resources and state gas to pick these people up and drop them off so that they can perform these crimes. So the corruption, I can understand how a university would be the same, thing.
Yeah,
they do the same thing at the university.
The university are all corrupted.
Yeah. I'm in Chapel Hill now, and a lot of students are doing the perping. So they're getting students to do it. Mm-hmm.
This isn't happening in Chapel Hill too. Holy! It's happening everywhere. This is in every community. I know. I don't know how it's ever going to be stopped. How can they stop something like this? It's just a freight train out of control.
And they're doing it. Well.
We're going to stop it.
There's more of us.
What did you say, Frank?
We're going to stop it.
Yeah?
Yeah, and I'll tell you how. They're doing it. The technology that was once our enemy is now fast becoming a friend because it's surfacing everywhere.
Yeah. Can you imagine replacing our body parts? I look at people and I'm appalled and they don't even know it's being done to them. It's horrible.
Ma'am, did you hear about the International Tribunal for Natural Justice, ITNJ.org?
What are they doing?
They're actually, I believe that they'll get to us. They are kind of stop the child trafficking and the ritual abuse stuff. And I really feel confident in this group of people. I don't know if there's anybody else on the call to check them out, but I had been watching them for a few weeks already before we watched it on Derek's call. Before they played it on there and talked about it. But I think that these people are really they're not affiliated with any government entity. And there's a guy from the United States, I can't remember if he's FBI or CIA, but these people they've had enough. It's time for this shit to stop. And somebody's got to hold high up people in the government accountable for the fucking bullshit. Excuse me, y'all. For the bad things they're doing.
There's another organization that we should look at, and thanks, Ash. I actually brought that up a couple of weeks ago, and it's just making it around, I guess. But you want to Google The Hague, THE, capital HAGUE. Now, that is the site of the World Court. It's actually a city, and the city name is The Hague.
I was there in high school. That's where this is being held?
No. That is the World Court. The World Court.
Oh, be darned.
Okay. And also in Switzerland, if you go on targetedmassachusetts.org, you'll find a document in the lower left-hand side. It's a PDF. It's actually a complaint form to the World Court, and it has been up there since last December, I think. But you can fill that out and mail it to Switzerland, Geneva, Switzerland.
Hey, Frank, there's so much really good stuff on the site that sometimes I'll get on there and I won't even get to whatever it was that I had gone there originally to look for, because I'll get caught up looking at some other good stuff. Because there's so much, I haven't seen everything on it yet. Because there's so much good information, I always end up following a different trail than I came after, you know. But thanks for the work you're doing on that. It's really coming along.
Thank you.
It's great.
That's true, because Frank has mentioned that before, and like Ashley, hi, it's Vanetta. I forgot about that one because there's so much good information on that site. Sometimes I get caught up in just reading the news articles and the PDFs. You know, it's just amazing. The information. Ashley, I got your email, and yes, I'm familiar with that. All that information that you gave us about the directed energy weapons. That was great. I got it this morning. And yes, it is very long. But the World Court, go on, Frank, about the technology is doing what? They're going to implode, but how they're going to stop themselves. You were explaining to us.
Okay, well, the technology is coming to the surface in many ways. If you look in that same document section, you'll see a PDF. It says new right above it, and it is, oh, damn, they're stepping on my head. It's the torture report, and it actually came from Anne, and it shows, I think it was Anne, it shows pictures of the brand new chips. Okay, they look like small bits of flesh, and you can see the wire inside them and the components inside them. So that's really worth a look, definitely. So that's one way. We're starting to see what to look for. We're starting to learn where to look for it. The technology is coming forth because we see all the time instances of brain to computer interface, from games to fighter jets to you name it. And all the technology is coming to the surface. I think Laura brought this to my attention. Yes, Laura did. Laura, you want to speak up on that? Okay, I guess she's off for a second. Another site was busted. I guess, I think 35 people were arrested. This is coming to me secondhand, so forgive me if I don't get it quite correct. Another site was busted that is actually taking part in either hacking or directly attacking human beings. That's another way. In another way that things are taking place is the fact that we are now fully just about in control of our internet resources for the moment. And back in the 70s, in the 80s, in the early 90s, and even in the year 2000, very few people were, on the net. Facebook wasn't even invented yet. Now we have Facebook, and we're grouping together. We're sharing information. We have websites like ours, Targeted Justice, and so many more. And like Derek's website, in all the conference calls, we have a long, long list posted. And all these things combined are putting us ahead of the perps. So, go ahead, Vanessa.
Oh, I was listening to you. You do? Oh, okay. It is putting us ahead of the folks, and it makes them try to bear down on us harder, which tells me that they're afraid. That's why they did that. They tried to pull that fast one on Targeted Justice with the flyers earlier this week, but that was stupid because that was like making people aware that it's a problem out there, and most people, the public in general, is not stupid anymore. Why would this small organization that nobody knew about, but I'm sure everybody, I wonder how many hits Targeted Justice got just to find out who they are and what's going on with them, that they would, put something, supposedly put fentanyl on the flyer on the Houston patrol car. And that really backfired on them. But I think that we're winning because they're so afraid, and out of their fear, they try to attack the people they think that are giving encouragement, like the moderators creating fights, alleged fights between the moderators are causing confusion, getting different TIs or activists to argue with each other or to become angry. The different tactics they're using, telling me, is that they're afraid. Anytime they follow me to a prayer meeting, and they were totally defeated because everybody I went to the Buddhist meeting, everybody was open and happy to see me, and I was hugging and talking to people, and it's like a turnaround is just coming, and you can see it. I'm now this week doing non-TI stuff, and there was so many people out there. I don't know how many TIs in Durham, but I was at this concert, an open-air concert. I don't know how many drones were out there, but I know I'm not the only TI in this area because it was drones aplenty, and everybody out there looked like they could give a damn. We were out there dancing, laughing. It had to be about 5,000 people out there, and laughing, and it just didn't matter anymore. It was like they were buzzing all around, and they couldn't control anybody. And it was just, to me, it was the funniest thing I ever. And it was people were aware of them, but they decided to totally ignore them. And understanding technology as it is, they're losing. They're losing. So that's what I feel, because we understand now. We create our happiness, and all this crap is artificial. I know it's frightening at the same time when we peel back the layers and see just how much has happened. But at the same time, as we're realizing how much has happened on their side, we're gaining ground every day. We're gaining ground. And to look at it that way, the fact that this call is being recorded, and the lady from who was a Berkeley at the University of Vermont, everybody is going to know about it because the good guys are listening too. So they're going to know about it. That's another thing they're going to investigate. So there's going to be eyes on them. I'm getting hit. That's why I talk about it. I have a microwave, nano seeds. The good guys are aware of it too. And so I feel like that every time we come on this call and we talked about what's being done, we are also giving them leads on where to look for these perps.
Exactly.
They can't hide. We're telling them where to look for them. This guy is definitely one here in North Carolina. They were at the concert because, like I said, I wish I knew the other TIs were out there at that concert, because they had to be there. And people all ages, but most of us look like we were old hippies, young radicals, people just good-natured people. And Durham has a history of that, of being politically aware and a bit of focusing more on freedom of choice and freedom issues. And so that would be a place that they were standing out there next to the police, but nobody cared. But the main thing, let me not go off on it. The main thing is the more information we put on these sites, the more we tell them. Yes, so that's why I put my address. I'm at 833 Providence Lane Drive. Yes, they got electronic eyes on me. They had the laser beam and they were doing nano seeds on me. And they had a couple of people they hired in here. But that's going to end soon because this puts the homeowners association at risk of being sued because somebody in maintenance is letting them up on the eave space between the roof and the third floor. And when they figure out that they are liable because the criminal activity has been done by them, they're going to kick them out of here because they don't want to be sued.
Very good point.
Mm-hmm.
I want to interject.
Mm-hmm.
Let me add one further piece of information, just in case you people are unaware of it. You probably know about exoskeletons to improve body and mind. UCLA, that was a while back, and these specific exoskeletons are the foundation of the human implant system. What I have implanted in me is called HOPE, the acronym Lockheed Martin HOPE, the acronym Human Universal Load Carrier. They're exoskeletons for human performance augmentation. Raytheon has one, and Lockheed has one. Like I said, this is the foundation for every other implant in our bodies.
May I interject and ask how you believe that or know that, or answer as you wish? Thank you.
What do you mean?
How do you know? How do you know it's Lockheed Martin? Did you have a scan and so forth?
Well, I'm intelligent. I've been studying this. I've been navigating the internet since 2009, investigating all of this. How do I know it? All of this is all over the internet. Lockheed Martin lives on the internet. They don't keep this stuff secret. It's just that most people don't know where to look. But once you know where to search and find it, it's everywhere. But people don't know that it's happening.
No, I don't disbelieve what you're saying. I'm not being confrontational. I'm just asking how you know in particular it's Lockheed Martin. That's all.
Could you give me that acronym, please, again?
It's the acronym HULC.
And that stands for what?
Human Universal Load Carrier. It's the foundation for everything that's in me and in millions of others. It's the base. It's the base. Starts at the foot. All this is visible in my body. They implant it in the foot, in the toes, and it travels up to the brain computer interface. It attaches to the soft tissue.
Well, I am so sorry about that. I wish that I had a lot of money and could make contributions to these efforts that are being made to expose, to, let's say, bring attention, such as Dr. Matthew Aaron is doing, and Ella, the billboards and so forth.
Isn't it incredible what they've done? They've done a tremendous job. My God.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah.
It's just phenomenal.
It is. It is. And I'm really happy for them. I hope that there can be some, it's just like the First World War was actually, the approval rating had to go up, and it went up by the government advertising and marketing it. And, even though that's something that is something we wouldn't do, the techniques were the same ones that we're using, the exposure of information and, feed it bit by bit. It's smart, and it's also billboards and at strategic optimal places along exits of freeways or access, whichever, I'd have to stop and think about acceleration and deceleration and awareness and traffic patterns, and I can't do that right now.
Well, they're on the 405, so that's one big traffic jam anyway. So that sounds good.
There you go. Yeah, when they're in the traffic jam and they have time they're traveling at a really very slow rate or not even moving. Yeah.
So what does the billboard say?
Well, from what I understand, I don't know. There's more than one, but one of them, I think it's a woman who is. They wanted to choose a person who didn't have an immediate recognition of like ethnicity, but so she kind of looks a little Latino, but she could be anybody, and she's glancing in a rearview mirror, and looking. It's something that's supposed to appeal, I guess, to someone, empathizing or sympathizing.
Okay,
and
I'm going to share the screen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to share the screen so those of you who have computers can see the billboard.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's nice. I wish they had billboards here.
Well,
in North Carolina.
We're going to do them in Boston. We got to find out prices. That one there is $25,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
For how long? Yeah. How long do they get to keep it up?
I think it's for a quarter. No, 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Nice. Okay, well.
Yeah, that's fantastic, I think. Now, if that isn't, that's perfect too. The woman looking in her rearview mirror with tears coming down her face.
Yeah.
For those of you who do not have computers, it says contract stalking in electronic assaults up at the top in a large font. And then a note, these growing crimes are not being stopped. Below that, inform yourself, share, demand a change. And it says www.freedomfortargetedindividuals.org. And to the right, the text wraps around the rearview mirror with the woman in it. And it's fantastic. I think it's brilliant. I've seen.
And the colors are really good?
Yes, they're red at the top, and it turns into like a deeper shade of, we'll say, red to almost brown, and that is all white text. Then the inform yourself, share, demand change is background red, text yellow, and at the bottom there's a bar on the bottom, and it is black with white text with the website. But I think it's fantastic.
Somebody turned their TV or radio down in the background.
Yeah, let me.
Yeah, it might be mine. It might be mine.
Yeah, it doesn't take too much to pick something like that up.
Hey, has anybody heard from Melissa in Georgia lately, or Rex in Pennsylvania?
Yes, I have.
Both of them?
I heard from Melissa yesterday, and she recounted her whole story from the beginning, and I think she was so scared at the time that she had forgotten that she
yesterday?
Yes.
Okay, she got her same number? I may give her a call then.
Yep, give her a call.
And what about Rex?
Rex?
In Pennsylvania, have you heard from him?
No, I have not. He's on my texting list. I can
I
tell.
haven't seen him on the calls for a little while, and he usually is on a lot.
Yeah. Let me check
I sent him
that
a
out.
text and asked if he was okay, and I haven't gotten a response. That's why I'm kind of seeing if anybody else heard from him.
And that's Rex,
You
right?
guys know anybody? You guys know anybody in Pennsylvania you can ask?
All right. The last time I heard from him was June the 13th, I think.
All right.
Yep.
Well, I'm gonna be trying to run him down.
Okay. Sounds great.
Thank you, Frank.
Certainly.
Frank, I'd like to ask you if you have any knowledge of anyone who has, in my case, I don't know who the perpetrators are, but aside from just almost not believing that this could be someone who want to do this, you know, if we got some idea, are they ever able to negotiate?
No.
And
Don't ever try to. Don't even let that enter your mind. And I will tell you why. Because they will take your money and do it anyway. That's the way they operate. Plus, if you put the money out in plain sight, no one would go near it. But if you did mail it to somebody, you'd never see it again, and they'd still be targeting you. So don't ever entertain the thought.
well, I wouldn't be willing to pay, but I would just, I mean, I don't know. I haven't really projected, an entire sequence, but simply have an attorney contact someone and say that you don't really have any need to do this, and it's wrong, and just effective, something equivalent to a restraining order.
No, you need teeth in that. That kind of request has no teeth. What you have to say, if you did get in a situation like that, is this: we know where you are. We know what you're doing. We've tracked you with signals. And if you don't cease and desist, we will drop the dime. So that's what I would do.
That sounds quite good.
Well,
yeah.
you have to have something with teeth in it. Well, we lost somebody. Apparently they didn't like it. Oh, it was probably Ashley actually going to... that's the only thing I could say. It's probably Ashley.
We scared him.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, you have to... Once we get into court, I am going to be front and center. Every time there is a trial somewhere, I will be there. And I don't care whether it's at The Hague or Geneva. Caller 1, you've got some serious air going on there.
You're making the hyperventilate.
Yeah. But anyway, I will be there because I want to personally look at each one of these things and help the attorneys take him apart, because I know a great deal about it. I'm very familiar with legal procedure. I'm very familiar with public speaking. I'm very familiar with so many things. So I want to be there, and I will.
Yeah, I would like to also, and I would like to have my mental and physical integrity, as well as, of course, character and ethical integrity. But I hope things are going to start moving soon, so that this becomes, a discovered and dealt with crime, So Gosh. With that exclamatory, I'll let someone else talk.
That was another one. Yeah, because they need to be put in jail. These people are criminals.
Yeah.
And they're hiding in plain sight. And they're criminals. And this is human trafficking because they're making money off of torture. And they're breaking all the laws there. State, local, federal, or international laws.
Exactly.
Yeah, but this is the international banking cartel. These are Wall Street bankers. They run the Pentagon. They manage and operate Lockheed Martin. That's who's behind this. Wall Street bankers.
Well, there's...
They run the Pentagon.
Okay. They're one of the people behind it. It's a cabal. It's a combination. They're one of the people. There's a criminal side. That's where they got the fentanyl in Houston. There's a criminal side to it. It's a drug trafficking side to it. It's a human trafficking side to it, slave trafficking. They're involved in any money-making criminal because it's like they're taking over everything. So they need to be put in jail because the money that they get flowing is coming from a lot of their criminal enterprise.
They're trying.
You execute them. You don't jail them, you kill them.
All right,
they're trying to take over.
I want to make a small comparison here. I'm sorry to interrupt, but it'll clarify a lot of things, I think. Say you have a gun manufacturer like Smith & Wesson. Okay, let's take the name Smith & Wesson off of there and put psychokinetic, whatever you want to call it, systems. All right, so they are selling this particular gun, we'll call it, or weapon, preferably. So who's buying from Smith & Wesson? Everyone. So when Vanetta broke in and she said, okay, yeah, it's not just them. Well, you have to compare this to a Saturday night special that's being sold, we'll say, by this emulator company that's not Smith & Wesson, but it's an electronics company. Okay, so what you have to do is say, okay, not just the government are buying from Smith & Wesson, but private sector is buying from Smith & Wesson. Private citizens are buying from Smith & Wesson. But what I want you to remember is what I've always said right from the beginning. This is coming from, and this, I didn't say this from the beginning. This is due to a lot of research and a lot of things that I have heard, and that is that they're going to the dark web with their computer, they're logging into a site, they're punching in your ID, and you come up on a screen, okay? And from there, the satellite does the damage. And that's the only logical conclusion that I can come up with, because it's seamless. No matter where you go, it is seamless. So it has to be something that encompasses a great deal of real estate. Now, a satellite can cover, we'll say, maybe even the whole East Coast, just by moving its inocular assembly to follow. And I think within possibly one beam, there are hundreds and thousands of frequencies that are one digit off, maybe. Like, we'll say that E is a 308451, and I'm a 308452. We're coming from the same satellite. This is what I think we're seeing. You know, we're looking at frequencies that are a little bit off, and I think this is about as close to reality as you can get, because if you look at the way satellite technology has gone, satellite technology is probably 40 years ahead of what we think it is. So
Oh yeah, oh yeah. The military and the it's always that way. Always that way, Frank. Yeah, that's right.
so that's my feeling.
Yeah, I agree with you. Because they were dialing down on us in Durham Central Park, and I wasn't the only one. I was listening to, I wasn't the only one they were dialing down. It had to be a satellite, and it was covering the whole area. And so I wasn't the only one they were dialing down on. It must have been, and I could hear the drones, but also I saw the cop and the info guard standing there, and they were sending in, the coordinates, and they were dialing down on the whole place.
Okay.
So it had to be a satellite.
Did you say the Dalai Lama was in Durham?
No, I said they were dialing down. The Dalai Lama is not in Durham Central Park. Come on now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's hard to understand you.
No, dialing down.
I think Frank is right. Just think about it.
They were loading. They were loading.
Satellite.
No. They were loading the coordinates. That's when I walked by. I turned my phone on, but other people had their phones on, and they were loading the coordinates. I sat there and watched them. So when you understand the technology, you can understand what's going on. I sat there and watched the car, and I watched him load the coordinates. And the lady standing there in plain clothes, she looked like she was ex-CIA or something, standing there with him and loading. And that's when you heard the drones under the music. And then the whole place was lit up. Everybody had their cell phones on. They were taking pictures and everything. So it was easy to zero in on people because the phones were on.
Well, I have a question. If someone is a basically conservative person, lives a conservative life, is politically, not controversial, do you think some of these people are radical, would fit the definition of radical, in that they don't care what happens to the government or the structure? They just want to destroy for the sake of shaking things up? Is that possible? In some cases,
I don't think they're radical. It's interesting you to say that. I think they're fascist. I think they're the other end of the spectrum, that they're into control. And then when you start talking about the New World Order, and they want to control it, they want to get rid of the people who would be the ones to protest or would fight back. They don't
It's also well documented that to rein in globalism, to rein in a new world order, they have to take down the United States first and foremost.
Right. And they definitely don't like all these people out there in the street about the immigration this week, because those are the people that will fight back. Irregardless of whether you agree with them or not, those are the people that will fight back. And they have a real problem because they realize that they couldn't control that, which I was sitting there laughing because they could not control what happened this weekend. It shows them that they're not in control.
I heard, I talked to someone who went to like a quite advanced a colloquium with a lot of like academics there with post-grad degrees, post PhDs, and the relevant
postdocs.
Yeah, postdocs, right, and postdoctoral, like and physicists and mathematicians and things. And one thing that I was told was that they were discussing how China is going to be the place to go for academics, because it's a developing country, and there is actually going to be you're going to see some of our really big academics who do research and who do stuff to help us. They're going to be lured over to China, or they're going to want to go to China, not Japan, China. And that's going to become the growing, kind of like possibly they're trying discussing whether it's going to take over the United States in terms of its, you know, whatever the indicators are that measure quality of life, and you know, I don't think that means militarily, but it means just in terms of power
Economics.
and, you know,
Economics.
yeah, and development. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I wanted to say something before we forget about it. What Frank was talking about with satellites, I think it's true, because just think about it this way: if DirecTV or one of those, you know, TV satellites can handle thousands and thousands of customers at once, then, well, you know, it's like account numbers and locations. I mean, they've been doing that for, you know, a couple of decades at least. So, you know, it would be easy for them to continue tracking thousands and thousands of individuals, some more targeted than others, on any given moment. On any given moment, you're already uploaded. All of your information has already been stored somewhere.
Very
so
good.
It's not a problem for them.
That's the best contribution towards my theory that I've heard in a while. And yes, I agree with that. Very good. Thank you so much.
Sure. Well, it's just a perfect amount. I mean, all they had to do was change what they were tracking. You know, they were tracking your television before, so now it's, you know, other things.
So possibly.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, because we were being marked with this biofilm and all the nanotech, they can track your shoes, your shirt, your coat, anything that has been tagged, because it's CCTTL all the time. You know, continuous clandestine tagging, tracking, locating. You can look that up. And they do that. They can mark your car with a dot and track it, but all the cars are covered now.
I hate to sound so naive, but why? Why has it come to this?
Because they don't know how to stop themselves. They're on a roll, you know? They're like addicted, and they're on a roll.
Yeah.
Money. Money.
And that's exactly what they were doing. They were raining nanoseeds down on us.
Well, why don't they start? Why don't they start doing? Why don't they get jobs to improve cities, like, you know, and using, you know, instead of working on people, work on optimizing, you know, building structures, and start tagging everything and helping the environment and all that, rather than they could actually use the stuff for good.
They could.
They build the
weapons, how they are.
And they're
not built like that.
I think they're not wired like that, because all this technology could be used for good too. But they're not wired like that. It's more about power and control and money.
And depopulation.
And depopulation, yes. That's important.
That is too much to, you know.
They want us gone.
I guess war was a form of depopulation, and
yes.
You know, the symmetrical wars that we've had so far, meaning, you know, the way they were always done, and then they went asymmetrical, meaning, you know, kind of started doing them differently, like in the early 1990s, like with the what was it? What was the war in the early 19? Well, there was a voice of God. Sounds like a car. The one we were involved in, was it Afghanistan or Iran?
Iraq.
Let the lady speak.
Yeah, it was
Iraq.
Well, look at Vietnam. Vietnam was about
the Gulf.
heroin.
I don't mean to shout, but I guess I just did. Gulf War. It was the Gulf War.
Yeah.
The Gulf War.
Another good example of depopulation is the Khmer Rouge in Cambodia. When they came in and how they killed millions. They meant to kill millions because they were depopulating. Yeah. It backfired on them too. It imploded on them finally.
That's
They kill millions
Rwanda.
before them exploded. Yeah.
Yeah,
Did you read,
Rwanda.
did you read
I
In
saw.
Rwanda, yeah, it's control. When you look at those countries, that was a depopulation plan to get. And right now, like in Burma, getting rid of the Muslims, the Buddhists are running them out. I'm Buddhist, and the Buddhists are running them out and killing them. And the Rohingyas and killing. That's another depopulation program, and they're doing it on small scales all over the world. But this what we're dealing with is worldwide. It's a bigger thing.
But essentially, Vietnam was CIA drug trade, the same as the Afghan poppy fields that are guarded by the military. It's heroin. That's what these wars are about. CIA drug trafficking. Vietnam and Afghanistan.
Okay.
The prime number one reason we're there.
I just wanted to bring up something that's very relative to what we're speaking of. When I was in Washington, Washington is a no-fly zone, so there would be nothing at all right up to the ionosphere that was flying over Washington. But I still had the same B2K. I still had the same attacks. Those who were with me still had the same attacks, and their immediate responses were being followed. And had I known a little more at that particular time, I would have said, yes, we are by satellite. If you look at Google Maps, that's just one way they can track you. They can track you through your phone. I mean, your precious phone that you can't put down. And that's not derogatory either. I mean, I need mine very much. And when this is over, I'm going to have a burning party. Computers and smartphones and all this stuff is going bye-bye.
Yeah.
And
pretty much anybody who has this technology, who's advanced enough, so that would be Google, Bing, MSN, Verizon, AT&T, all the companies that you pay to give you services probably or could be tracking you right now. They may not be hitting you, and they may not causing you harm like the other companies, but there's a number of companies tracking you at the same time. Not all of them are hurting you.
Yeah, I want to add something to what Sumaya said earlier. Possibly, maybe people like Dish TV, they may have no longer a use for a certain satellite, and the satellite could be purchased by someone else, for a far less or lesser price. And all we have to do is go to the FCC now, and I've said it before, but you can get the name of every satellite owner that there is. And according to Richard Lighthouse, there are 411 active satellites as of last November 2017.
And would you have any idea how we could find out, or would anyone know the ranges of elevation and coverage?
I'm not sure about the orbiting parameters, but if they're in a stationary orbit over an area, those are the ones that we want. Like the space station is in a different orbit and travels around the Earth. So these satellites are in a stationary orbit over given areas, like a ring around the world. They're probably over the United States, and they probably cover the whole United States, and across the ocean to Europe. and they can probably crisscross and probably have with other satellites. And that's the only way they can track you in a plane, track you in a ship, track you in a car. It's the only way. And
Anywhere.
yeah, I think I'm going to try something a little different. I'm going to leave my smartphone home and take a drive somewhere and see what kind of difference there is. Because
yeah, well, I've done that. It doesn't really help.
yeah,
I have a question. It's possible to get unlisted numbers for smartphones, or is it not?
well, the number isn't really what it's all about.
Yeah.
As soon as they pick up your cell phone, you can write the number off. They can pick up exactly what's on the phone, what's, anything they want, actually, if they choose to.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a constant digital stream coming off your phone.
But if you have evidence that you're a crime victim and, I don't know, some of these things for crime victims who have computer crimes, they do have specialists, and one of the things they say is to get the phone in another name, or to get it so it isn't published.
That's such old technology. I mean, your phone, no matter if it's on or off, or if you're searching, you're constantly putting out data, and they're constantly receiving data streams right out of the air. It doesn't matter, and the SIM card and the registration number and all of that is, on your phone when you bought it.
Yeah.
You can change the phone. You can change the phone number, and you're still going to be putting out data streams constantly.
We have to go to old school. We have to go back to faxes. I mean, you can set your computer up with a printer to send faxes if you have one of these all-in-ones. And, go back to faxes. And if I have very important data that I'm going to send to someone, I use snail mail. Really.
Yeah.
So we have to, as Sue said, we have to go low tech. I think that's that. And low tech is something they're not looking for. And if you can get a dial-up modem for your computer, it's a lot slower. But guess what? They're not looking for that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And also your TV. You need to go back to the old TVs, which still work just fine, as long as you know how to hook them up. Don't get any smart TVs, because those are terrible for you. They put out a lot of radiation, and there's two-way microphones on them, and two-way cameras.
Yeah, they can change all the pixels collectively to view instead of you viewing, they view. And this would probably come at some time while you were waiting to put your next movie on, or, change channels or whatever. Mm-hmm. So there's a number of ways that they can watch.
Yeah, you could have your whole family sitting on the couch watching a movie, and they'll be watching you through a secret camera, which is embedded in the smart TV. And even when you turn it off, it can still be live. So unless you unplug it, but you have to unplug it every time you're not using it, I think.
Yeah. My targeting started in 2007. It was before smart anything.
Hi, Ann.
Hi.
That was just when the smart stuff started to really get intelligent.
Wasn't. They were giving me message, and the message was Smart Start. Okay, now Smart Start is like a breakfast cereal. There's a milk that's Smart Start Smart. I'm looking at a milk container. I'm looking at a cereal box. It didn't catch on until Smart came out. And actually, it was just recently. I was like, oh, my God, that's what they meant. They're
Well, that's
starting
like bait.
smart. Okay?
No offense, but like bait and hook, or hook, whatever that is, like,
Well, in 2007 and 8, I was going through, I don't watch TV. I'm not a TV watcher. I'm a movie watcher. I don't watch TV. But it seems historical for me. During a breakup, I watch TV. I catch up on TV. Well, all my messages were coming through the TV, okay? And they actually described the shirt that I was wearing. And I was not watching a smart TV. I was watching an old-fashioned TV. We didn't even need HD. HD didn't come out until 2009. Remember, it kept getting delayed, and then you could apply for that box that they would give you to convert your old TV to get HD TV. Well, they actually described what I was wearing. Okay, so they were watching me. Somehow it wasn't.
Did they call you up and tell you, or was it through one of the subliminal methods?
It was a message. If I tell you the messages, it was more than a subliminal message. It's something I prefer not to share, but
you don't have to.
But for no other reason, but I'm going to sue these motherfucking bastards, these pieces of shit, okay? Because I would be at a great loss. I actually put myself in a position where I said, let's say I didn't know where it was coming from. Let's say that I was completely in the dark. I've had a very interesting life. I've had an extremely interesting, people could live 3 lifetimes and not have the life. And I'm thinking, okay, what would I be thinking where this is coming from? Who is after me? Who's chasing me? Who's trying to get who's trying to enter my brain? And I came up with about 4 different scenarios, okay? Who could it be? And I really feel sorry for people that don't know where it's coming from. I had a close encounter. I know where it came from. I know exactly. I sat down with the fucking CIA. I had drinks with them. I did not know they were CIA. I was told they were CIA, okay? I was befriended by Di Corp, all right, who opened up a shut-down Air Force base in Raimi, Puerto Rico. And I was invited. I hung out on this base. I danced on this base. I ate on this base. I went to the mess hall, okay? I had no idea. I thought it was a full working Air Force base. It wasn't until years later that I looked it up. And supposedly it was closed in 1975. 1975, but yet I was on it.
And you were invited there.
I was invited, yes. And I was making jokes. I mean, these people were nice enough. I was making jokes. Oh, like when we got to the entrance, I was like, are they going to scan our retinas to get in? I mean, I'm a jokester, so I'm making jokes. I don't make jokes anymore because I'm just a miserable piece of shit now. But anyway, this was,
after a couple of bad dating experiences, I decided I would never date anyone unless I asked to see his license, run a check on him. Really?
Well, the reason that I know what I do know is because they befriended me and they told me things. I'm not a person that asks questions, but people normally just open up to me. Strangers open up to me. Everybody tells me their life story. They just meet me and tell me everything. And I wanted, like, in my mind, I'm screaming, don't tell me anything, because whatever you tell me is going straight to them. I'm like an unpaid spy over here. They're using my ears, they're using my eyes, they're using my brain, and whatever you tell me is going straight to headquarters. So the person that was called in, okay, a woman was called in to keep an eye on me, and she said to me, I guess you're wondering, now listen to this, okay, put this together, this isn't difficult. I guess you're wondering why the CIA is here. Now, everybody showed up to the end of this project, and the project was they were sending this aircraft that was built. I think it was 3 years they were building these aircraft, and they were going to get Bin Laden. Okay, I got a private tour of the planes. I took pictures of the planes, which Frank has, and I was told by the person that was there to keep an eye on me. I guess you're wondering why the CIA is here. Now, I wasn't wondering because I had no idea who was. They weren't wearing name tags. They didn't have name tags on that said, you know, who they were. They were people. I didn't know who they were. So if she said this to me, chances are that I should have recognized them, okay, that they were big names in the CIA.
I think I want to get in my car and leave there and drive out, you know. I don't know, but
I was also driven to HARP, okay? There is a HARP in Puerto Rico. It's called an observation center. HARP is in Puerto Rico. I was taken there. They didn't tell me where they were taking me. They were probably activating the chips that they put in my body. Because Paul O'Brien attacked me one night, threw me to the ground, stuck his fingers in my ears, in every orifice in my body, okay, which was probably, he was probably putting something inside of me, and then drove me around to the most isolated area. We were just in isolation. All this while my partner that I was there with, okay, of 10 years, I called him my husband, was sleeping. He went home. He went back to the hotel and he was sleeping.
Did your husband know where you were going and everything?
No. You know, if you know anything about a surfer rises with the sun. I mean, as soon as the sun peeks through, they're up. They're looking to surf. So they're up like 5 o'clock in the morning, okay? And they go to bed very early. And this was my life with a surfer. You know, he goes to bed really early and he wakes up really early. And we go to Puerto Rico every single year. We go to Puerto Rico for surf. And we have a kind of a routine going, you know, and for me, it's a relaxing. It was always a relaxing because I wasn't surfing. Yeah, I would snorkel, I'd go to the beach, but I'd take runs on the beach. It was the most isolated part of Puerto Rico you've ever seen. I mean, I could take a hike for 4 miles and never see another person.
Yeah, that's wonderful to do that. But someone who you named attacked you, and over there you can't just call the police or.
Well, it was the kind of thing that I thought it was just, through my lifetime, it's been like this for me. I mean, I don't know.
Scream my head off.
It wasn't that kind of thing. I thought it was an isolated thing. I thought it was, you know, he took his chances. He wanted to see how far he could get. But the most odd thing about the whole thing was that when we were leaving the bar, we went out to celebrate that night. And like I said, my partner of 10 years, he said, I'm exhausted. I'm going to bed. You go out, have a good time. So the three of us went out. And the other female that went out, you know, my babysitter, I'm looking on the dance floor and she's with this guy dirty dancing on the dance floor. And I'm like, what? Is she drunk? Like, what the hell is going on? Oh, it was probably a contact that she was making. She was probably passing something through to him. I mean, this was all spy shit, you know? And I didn't know at the time. I was so friggin' naive. I knew nothing about nothing. I didn't even know what a sleep cell was. So, so I go to Paul. I said to him, I'm worried about Jane. I was like, you know, she's not, like, what's going on with it? She's like, oh, she's fine. She's fine. I was like, so then we were going to leave and she wasn't there. So I said, I'm not leaving without Jane. Let's find her. The three of us came together. The three of us are leaving together. I'm not leaving her with that guy. She doesn't even speak Spanish that way. I mean, she spoke Spanish, but not fluently. I was like, God knows what's going to happen to us. So he turns around to me and goes, oh, that's okay. She's packing. Don't worry about her. Like, she has a gun or something. Yeah, that's what he meant. So I said, well, I'm really not comfortable. Chicks don't do this to other chicks. They just don't leave them. You know, they don't abandon them. So he goes over to the bartender and he comes back to me and goes, I asked the bartender where she went, and he said that she's with a guy in a green shirt. I was like, yeah, but isn't he going to change his shirt tomorrow and wear a blue shirt? I mean, what is that telling us? So that's when we left. We left the bar. We were going to look for her, okay? And we left the bar and we went outside. And that's when he threw me down. The car was like parked. It wasn't really a parking lot. It was pretty primitive. And there was just sand, like, you know, like a sand lot, say. And we had to like go through the beach to get to, the bar was on the beach and we had to get, in order to get to the car. And that's when he just threw me down on the ground and molested me. And, but I was like, you know, I didn't start screaming because I thought he was drunk. Nothing really happened. I mean, he felt me up, but it was like, okay. But
did you feel as if he actually inserted some type of electronic thing?
I didn't, but I thought it was very odd that he stuck his fingers in my ears. I thought that was very odd.
Yeah.
So, and he cooled off. You know, I know how fast this guy cooled off. Like immediately, as soon as I pushed him off of me, that was it. He was like cool, like, you know, not the guy that was hot and bothered that, you know, was going to get blue balls. No. He was just, so he had a mission and he accomplished it. And that night I went home. Bob was in bed. And I went into the bedroom and I couldn't sleep. I could not sleep at all. Nothing. And then after that, I couldn't eat. I couldn't eat and I couldn't sleep. I was just up. I was like, was it all the excitement of, you know, the project and going there? And
you don't think you put any cocaine or amphetamine in your drink?
Because this went on for months after I got home.
Months?
And then, yeah, months. I lost 23 pounds in 1 month. I looked like I was dying. Okay, I looked like death. And then I got this thing developed on my face. I don't know if you ever went on to James Lico's site, but he has like these things on his chest. He calls them boils. Okay, I was diagnosed. It was like a cancerous thing on my face, and so that occupied all my time because I didn't have health insurance. And yeah, I was always healthy. I never needed to go to the doctor.
I was going to ask if you know, if you went to a doctor. I mean, if you can't eat for more than a week.
I became like a beggar, you know, going to doctor's offices, and they wouldn't touch me without insurance. They wouldn't even come near me because they were like freaking out when they saw what this thing was doing on my face. It was a fast-growing tumor. It was growing like by the minute. You could watch it grow until it turned into what appeared to be, the only thing I could say was a crater. It looked like a volcano in a crater.
But in the United States, isn't there an obligation if you have a real emergency, they will treat you?
Well, I ended up going to the clinic, all right? And when I got to the clinic, I remember I was sitting in the waiting room with like a billion people and waiting to get called. And this nurse grabbed me out of the crowd. She grabbed me by the arm. She took me into the little room and she gave me a shot. Okay? Now, I guess it was the flu shot she was giving me. I guess it's mandatory to give somebody a flu shot. But in retrospect, I think how odd to finally, like out of hundreds of people, to just grab me and bring me into this little room. But I don't want to get too paranoid about it. So maybe it was nothing. Maybe it was. I don't know. And then shortly after that, Bob and I broke up. It was just so difficult. It was, and they send me messages, but they don't send me sentences. They send me 1, 2 phrases, 2 words, 1 word. They just throw words at me, right? So now, course, they want me to think about it, right? So now, I didn't know at the time. Now I know. They want me to think.
I couldn't quite hear.
Think. So they could penetrate my brain. They want to know my thinking process. And one of the things that they made very clear was sleepies, okay? And they kept repeating sleepies, sleepies, sleepies over and over again. I'm like, sleepies? What the hell was sleepies? And it was coming through. They were doing Macy's, one-day sleep sale, Macy's, spring sale, spring, sleep, okay, spring, mattress spring, sleep sale. And it kept just like, and so one night I finally fell asleep. And in my sleep, I think, sleepies, Bob, my boyfriend, right? Bob, sleepies. He's at 10 o'clock, the man, not at 10 o'clock, at 9:45, like clockwork, he yawns, he looks at me and says, dear, I'm going to bed now. I'm sleepy. And he goes to bed, he reads for 15 minutes, and goes to sleep. For 10 years he did this. So in my sleep, I'm thinking, like the word is like going around my head, sleepies. I'm thinking in my sleep. And all of a sudden I went, oh, Bob, sleepies. They give me a friggin' electric bolt. They knocked me out of bed. My body must have jumped out of that bed a foot in the air, okay? Sleepies. So I was like, so I made a connection with sleepies. But now I make more connections with sleepies. Now I know that they change people in their sleep. When you wonder why people are different, you know how you say, gee, that's not the same person I talked to yesterday. Like, what's going on? See, I'm not a person that goes around screaming the sky is falling. I'm very, my feet are planted deep in the ground. I mean, I'm not, so I have, people respect my opinion. And when I've gently told people about this, gently, without saying everything, saying very little, they listen. Okay, they listen to me. They've even responded. Okay, like after I said it to them, and then all of a sudden they turn off. They just turn off like nothing was ever said. And I put this together. They get everybody. They're in everybody's head, and they get them in their sleep. This is how they manipulate. And these calls, you know what these calls are for? These calls are for their progress notes. They want to know how much progress they're making, so they're listening to us. This is all legal, okay? These firms, they're big corporations, they're venture capitalists, all right? They have, this is big, big, big business for them. If you look at the venture capitalists and you look at the companies that are traded, you look at the companies that are acquired, okay? Mergers and acquisitions. It's all about mergers and acquisitions. You will find that they're in the weapons industry, okay? This is what they do. And then you look at the CEOs, and the CEOs are all the same for all the companies. And I wonder, how do they know where they're going in the morning? They have all of these companies. So when you wonder, why are they doing it? This is why they're doing it. This is their business. This is where the big bucks are. They sent me a message one time, information rich. Remember I told you I don't get complete sentences? Information rich. That was the word. Information rich. Didn't know it at the time, didn't catch on at the time, but now I put it together. Now I can give you all of them. The shit that they pull on me I get no relief whatsoever. And now the parasites have mapped out my brain. and I know I've said this before, but they were very clear, and I wonder now if this was disclosure, okay? There has to be watch groups. There has to be. You can't have an industry. They have law teams. They have their own law firms, all right? Aside from that, there has to be watchdog teams. I come from the medical industry. I know all about it. So they have to answer to somebody. They have to show their progress. They have to show what they're doing, okay? They have to pretend it's ethical. I forgot where I was going with it. But anyway, this is not like criminal. These are people that live in mansions, okay? That when you get to the gate, you know, you can't get in. You have to be invited in. And then their driveways are 3 miles long. These are the people that we're talking about that are doing this to us. Look at the CEOs. We know Dick Cheney has Halliburton, okay? His wife, Liz Cheney, is a board member for Raytheon. Look at, and then look where, I didn't spend too much time on that one. That one came to me accidentally. I wasn't even looking it up. I concentrated mostly on DICORP. And yeah, the CEOs and what other boards that they sit on. And it's all weapons industry. It's all this, okay? Now, early on in my targeting, like with the TV, Emerald was very popular then, the chef Emerald. And every time Emerald finished his recipe, what did he say? Bam. Bam. That's what he did. And every time Emerald said bam, I got a jolt. Okay? They sent me a jolt. I had no, bam, you know what bam meant to me? You come from New York, the Brooklyn Academy of Music? Brooklyn Academy of Music. And I'm like, Brooklyn Academy of Music? What does that have to do with everyone? Oh, with anything. And for years, I thought that's what it was, until President Obama in 2013, in his second term, what was it? Yeah, in the second term, okay, talked about the Brain Advanced Mapping Project.
Brain mapping, yeah.
It wasn't called the Brain Initiative. It was called BAM. And the TV was on in the background. I tripped over my own feet to run to the computer to print this out, because then I knew exactly what they were talking about. I got put on this program. That's my program, okay? I could have a mental conversation with these assholes, with these parasites. So I know people with voice to skull, it's usually like, and I'm not sure, but it comes in one way, you know. With me, it's, and they do certain things to me because they want me to think about it so they could like penetrate areas of my brain that they haven't been there before. It's like the great exploration. So it's just, and it's 10 years. 10 years. How much more do they want from me? That I could name them? What are they going to do to me now that I can name them? What's my future? And when they put you on a program, it's for a certain amount of time, okay? So mine has to do with heart. And I'm getting, and these things flash on my computer screen quite regularly. And a lot of times I get, like they'll flash, HOP. HOP will be ending in 2018. So what does that mean? The program's going to end this year for me? I was on a 10-year program? So, and then what are they going to do with me? Leave me alone? You know, the other thing is they have a code of conduct, these military contractors. It's called, oh shit, what the hell is it? IOSA, okay? And it's a, you know, it's their code of conduct. And most of them belong to it. Do you know who sits as the president? His name is Imbram. He's Dycourt. Dycourt. He's the president of the Code of Conduct, ISOA. It's like they just, oh yeah, you know what else I was told? Oh, here's one. This is a valuable piece of information. I guess, you know, the government only pays a pay rate, and these people, like, you know, the generals and the colonel, well, you know, well, it's the Air Force people. It's mostly Air Force. You know, they're promised jobs when they retire. They're promised jobs with the private sector. So they go out of government right into the private sector. So I'm giving you really good information here. And if you dig, you'll find it.
And don't stop sending.
All right. I don't know which hair picture you got today. Did you get the one on the tub?
I am not.
The hair on the tub?
Yes, I did. Yep, I saw that. I was amazed.
Because I sent you two. I sent you the one that was yesterday when I washed my hair. It wasn't that much, but Frank, I don't have that much to lose anymore.
Yeah, I
can't
believe that.
Yeah, the other one with the hair on the tub, that was last month. Unfucking believable. And now, I never noticed how red my scalp was, but now, because my part is so wide on my head that I could see, in my whole life I was never able to see my scalp. That's how much hair I had. Now I could see my scalp, and it's red. Red. It looks burnt. But the funny thing is, it goes away. It like goes away in a day. Then I go to sleep, I wake up, and there it is again, all red. And I confirmed yesterday, they definitely have my mother. They definitely, absolutely. And they're going to stand behind the fact that she's an elderly woman and she probably has dementia. But my cousins confirmed yesterday that my mother's dementia is only with me. How could you turn it on and off like that? Only with me. She's perfectly lucid with other people.
It's really sad. I wish there was something you could do about it. She doesn't have a diagnosis of it otherwise. I mean,
No.
She doesn't have no. Oh gosh. When I'm with my relatives, they leave them. They're not affected. I mean, if they are, I don't notice anything.
No, they got my brother and they got my mother. All right. When I first told my brother, and like I said, I don't go into little details. But when I first told my brother, his first response to me was, and this was in 2013 or 14, and his response to me was, his eyes opened up and he goes, "Did you ever see the show Conspiracy Theory?" And like, I didn't like that word, conspiracy theory, so I like shrugged him off. I was like, no, I don't watch anything called conspiracy theory. He goes, no. He goes, remember he goes, you know that wrestler? He became the governor. He said, it's a great show. And they were talking about exactly what you're saying. He said, I watched the show. He goes, and you know what? He goes, I love that show. He goes, and right after that one, he says, right after that show, it went off the air. So I went online and I looked it up, and sure enough, a lot of people from our group were there. Okay. And they went to HARP. But, you know, so he was willing, like, you know what I mean? He was like kind of receptive to it. Now he looks at me like he's in a trance. The guy is in like a state like this, like I want to snap my fingers in front of his face to see if he's alive. They got in to all my friends, and the people that they couldn't get into, they hurt them.
Does he work or take care of a family or anything like that? And is he able to do that well enough?
No. My brother was in a motorcycle accident when he was a teenager, and he had so many broken bones. And you know, when you get older, it sneaks up on you, you know. But the major injury that he's suffering with now, he was an engineer at a major big city hospital, and he fell off of a ladder. The ladder was on gravel, not on, and it was a work order. He had to do it. He couldn't refuse. And I guess maybe he knew it was dangerous. I don't know. If you're putting a ladder on the roof, okay, on gravel, you're not very steady. And he fell off, and, you know, so whatever old injuries he had, and then he has new injuries, and he's just a total disabled, poor. I mean, it's so sad. It's so sad. You know, he's crippled. He really is. And so, no, he's not able to. You know, he's on disability. And, you know, that kind of takes your manhood away from me. You know what I mean? But the funny thing is, a lot of funny things happen with that. Like, he had to keep going back and forth to court to prove his disability. It got a little crazy. You know, these things I didn't put together then. Like, now I could put them together. And when he got the MRI of his knee, it didn't have it was a perfectly fine knee. And his knee is, I mean, it buckles backwards, okay? It actually goes backwards. And it bends, like, through the back. And they show him his knee, and they're like, there's nothing wrong with it. There's a perfectly fine knee. And then they find his name. You know how they put the name and the date on your x-rays and your, you know, your whatever? It didn't have his name on it. It wasn't even his knee. It was somebody else's knee.
Hey, Frank, can I ask you a question and address what she's talking about?
Sure.
Of what I know. Hi, everybody. This is Amy. I can't stay on the call for but a few minutes because I've got to return a bunch of stuff to Walmart since I blew my budget at 99-cent store getting foods and vegetables and whatever, since it's 99 and up. It's not just 99 cents, but that's, you know, instead of shopping at Stater Brothers or Ralph's or Walmart, for that matter, of paying them, giving any money to them is not the way I want to go. So I'm trying to downsize and be frugal. So what I wanted to tell everybody, you had some callers on your phone from Chicago, Illinois. Would you be so kind to give them my phone number, whether it's, you know, texting, email, and then tell them to erase it immediately and erase that information in that phone call on your log immediately? Because you and I, Frank, this is how I see us. This is how I see us winning. And I'm praying. I will be praying on it for a miracle, because I do believe that this is how we're going to make a big impact on what she just said and what others have been saying all along. Francis Boyle, the law professor of international law, did prosecute and convict in an absentee court George Bush, Donald Rumsfeld, Dick Cheney, and yes, he is a dick. Sorry to say my language. And Hayden, and Tennant and Condoleezza Rice. So being that we have the phone numbers, leaving messages, leaving emails for attorney and his assistant that did successfully have them convicted, so they can never go to any NATO country the moment they set foot off that plane on European or NATO soil. They will be immediately carted off, so they can go to the UK because it's a non-NATO country. But that's about the extent of it, because they're just waiting on him. They tried to tell him when he went to Sweden or Switzerland, I can't remember which, if you get off that plane, you stand the chance of being brought to The Hague for the War Tribunal. So he stayed on the aircraft and went back to the United States with his little ass. So this is how we are going to attack it. I feel in my heart of hearts and deep in my soul that this attorney who has background from Oxford and Cambridge, where I was stationed an hour away, and he worked with General Clark and President of Kuala Lumpur to make sure this happens, and to prove to his students while he's teaching with his law license that, see, you too can do the same thing. Look under the Constitution. Look under what laws were broken. Nationally, internationally, Geneva Convention, they committed treason against every single one of those things that I, as a military soldier, had that Geneva Convention on my ID card, that we are to do no harm, particularly not to our citizens. It was really slanted towards enemy combatants, but our intel and our government is the enemy combatants. We have to use that same strategy that I learned in the military to do on them, and bring them down and bring media in and expose them worldwide, because many people are shocked when I tell them this. They don't believe me. Like when I was at the VA last week in San Diego, I said, are you two fucking kidding me? The guy who was in the Air Force that had an Air Force cap on, that was black, that he's like, well, I don't talk about slavery, you know, blah, blah, blah. I said, no, you got out in 88. You didn't serve in 9/11. So I don't blame you for being ignorant and not knowing or believing that this could happen, as well as the civilian selling her wares there. She got all hostile with me about it. She's like, what's a false flag? Oh, they wouldn't do that to our country. And I said, okay, don't believe me. Let me give you the CIA and the committee that works on 9/11, the pilots. This is still ongoing. All the pilots of all the unions, people that I knew in the Air Force that were pilots, that are reservists, people that are ex-CIA, there is a 9/11 commission, and here's two generals, Albert Stubblebine and Major two-star General Paul Hellyer out of Canada, Defense Prime Minister. Look up those two people on their YouTube and see what they have to say about 9/11, about the Bush family, all the way to Prescott Bush and their connections being Gestapo Nazis that brought over these Nazi scientists. They were part of that conglomerate that are living in South and Central America, which is where the Bushes have property, because they know they can't get property in any NATO country, nor can they go there. So believe me when I tell you that we are holding their feet to the fire. We are getting closer to victory. Know that. This is not a false sense of confidence or a false grandioso thought process. No, when we go, or me particularly, when I go big. I skip the chain of command, and I've been convicted of that many, many times with a slap on the hands. And I always said, my response was, well, when the chain of command is the problem, from the wing commander, the base commander, the squadron commander, when they are the problem, I'm working with Air Defense Council to get them convicted against the JAG and the and NCIS, get them convicted and get them exposed. So I am unafraid and unapologetic that I will always skip the chain of command because I know nothing gets done at those lower levels, because there's a hush order on them. And Marines especially, they're the worst. They will deny up and down 10 million times and fabricate. They are paid assassins is what they are. They are brain trained mind control.
It's a doodles. Doodles!
I'm sorry?
I think someone else wants to speak, Amy. I'm not sure.
Please go ahead. Please share.
Yeah, anybody else who would like to take the floor? And
that was the same perp that was on a call last night that was making, and I know who it is. He's here in Irvine. He makes all these little characters like Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck, and yeah, he works for the government. We know that.
Just stupid, ignore him.
I banished him a year ago. His name is Corey. He lives in Irvine. He said he was a TI. He's not a TI. He's a liar. He was the one doing the moderating of his calls about a year or two ago. And I cut him off at the knees. And he's like, oh, what did I do? What did I do? And I'm like, you know what you did. You know who you are. You know damn well who I am. And I'm not going to put up with your bullshit. That you're whining to everybody about your woes. You're a fucking liar. Excuse my language. So if you ever look up this person, Corey, that lives in Irvine, and he's Jewish, so of course he's got lots of money. He would never tell me how he gets his money or how he goes to China and Japan and all these countries, at a moment's whim for 3 months at a time and speaks the language. He is one of the infiltrators. I can tell you quite simply and plainly. He's listening on these calls. He knows better than to voice his opinion anymore because we've called him out on his shit. So know that he is one of the enemy. And I don't say that lightly. I don't use the word perp lightly because I know that's a dangerous thing. I don't want to divide and conquer our group in any way, shape, or form. I want to bring light to those that are doing what they're doing. Kevin, Marcus, Ryan, just to name a few. And Brian Coffrin, who said he worked for Amazon as ISI, was laughing in our face. I saw his post. Laughing in our face saying, they believed me. They were giving me money. They're so stupid. I saw him say that.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay.
Can we move
That's
on?
enough of my soapbox.
Can we move on to something closer to targeting?
Ignore them. I just want to bring
ask
one thing up that people don't want to.
Can I ask one question before I go? The Kennedy on the Supreme Court that just stepped down, was he, Frank, related to Joe Kennedy or the other Kennedys?
Oh, yeah.
Because this is very important since you are there in Boston, and I brought my general on the line and my friend who was in Intel on the line with you to know about you worked with the Kennedys. That is gold. That is gold in your book. Reach out to them. Reach out to Senator Warren. She has been down here talking about the ICE arresting these people, tearing them away from their families. She has been vocal. She is righteous. And Barb, shut the hell up. Frank disinvited you, defriended you off these calls. He doesn't want you on these calls because you are nothing but a liar, and you make it all about you. It's not all about you. We can agree to disagree on topics. You don't believe in God, that's fine. You don't believe in the devil, that's fine. You don't believe in heaven, hell, that's fine. But everybody
Barb's
doesn't
not
think
on the
about
call.
the way you do.
Barb's not on the call. I think that's Vanetta. I'm not sure.
Oh, I love Vanetta. I love her. We were waiting for her on Lauren's call last night, but she never came. So if you're on the call, Vanetta, can you contact Lauren? I can give you her phone number through Frank, but I'm not going to give it out over the phone. She really wants to speak with you because you are a gem, like Frank is a gem, like all these individuals have a piece of the puzzle. And I just want to say thank you for every soul. That's why when the planes go down, they say, how many souls were lost? They still use that term. You are a soul and a spirit more powerful than you know. We just need to know how to use it. And that's what I'm trying to bring to the table, how to combat the enemy, the invisible enemy.
Did something happen to the sound, please?
I would
sorry?
like to give people on the call information that they can read that is absolutely incredible, okay?
Thank you.
You could look this up, U.S. Electromagnetic Weapons and Human Rights. It was written by Peter Phillips.
Hold on, I got to write this down. If I can share it on the other calls too, because that's every seed of information that you have, that we have, it is vital to our success.
I have a library. Peter Phillips, Lou Brown, and
so
Bridget
cool.
Thornton.
Can you give me that again so I can pass it along to Neil's call and others?
I'm sure that I sent it.
Can you give me that one more time so I can write it down?
It really prints out on the newsletter a lot of stuff that I sent her. U.S. Electromagnetic Weapons and Human Rights. Peter Phillips.
U.S. Electromagnetic
Weapons and Human Rights.
And Human Rights. And
Peter Phillips.
Peter Stiller?
It's from Sonoma State University. Project Censored Media Freedom Foundation. I sent it to Frank.
I'm sorry, one more time, a little bit slower.
Project Censored Media Freedom Foundation. Sonoma State University.
Freeman Foundation. Okay, I've seen the Freeman Foundation on the public learning channel. What was it, Peter who?
Phillips. You can find it. You got enough information. Peter Phillips, Lou Brown, and Bridget Thornton. If you just look that up, you'll get it.
Thornton. Okay, and Peter, what was his name?
Phillips.
Phillips. Phillips.
You got it.
Got it. Oh, thank you so much. That is a diamond.
So, this is the cover page. This is what the cover page says: a study of the history of the United States Intelligence Committee human rights violations and continuing research in electromagnetic weapons. I personally found page 36 very interesting. I think there are 45 pages. Okay. And it's about the Department of Defense military contractors. And I'll just read the first paragraph. Okay. Military contractors run our wars in concert with power elites. This is where the deep state comes in. The corporation also has the power to determine which studies will reach the public. To be certain, the military, in the interest of budgets, will allow negative or alarming studies to remain unreported or lost to see of classified documents. The money involved in the non-lethal weapon industry is growing, and military contractors are reaping the profits. According to the Defense Industry Daily, I don't know, RDVARC, Tactical Incorporated in California, won a $50 million contract to develop non-lethal weapons, anti-terrorism capabilities, and riot gear. SAIC received $49 million in November 2004 to develop high-power microwave and other directed energy systems, while Fiore Industries received $16 million contracts for similar technologies, and ITT received a $7.85 million contract. See, that's what you have to realize. These are bids going out. There are bids going out to these contractors. Every day, if you go on to Government Fed Biz, they put out a contract and they bid for it. Okay?
What was it, government something bid?
Fed Biz. FedBiz.gov.
How do you spell that?
Fed, F-E-D, biz, B-I-Z, .gov.
Thank you so much. That is so helpful.
Yeah, I mean, you have to take your mind out of these are petty crimes, these are low life, these are drug addicts. No, they don't have access to this shit. No way.
You're right. Right on.
And if you don't think big, you're not going to look up big stuff. You know, you're going to be pointing to your neighbors.
And I can tell you with complete complicity, I worked for Hewlett Packard 1999 through 2000 when Y2K was happening in Roseville, part of Sacramento. And so I know that they're connected with Stanford University. I know that they're in concert with Lawrence Livermore Labs there. Many guys in my unit work with these. Gentech is one of them. Biohazard, bio-killing type things that they do. And that's tied in with Sandia Corporation in New Mexico and Kirkland Air Force Base, New Mexico. And the Cosmic Disclosure, 5 parts, Emery Smith. David Wilcox interviews him. You can look him up.
You have to look at the bases that close, not the active bases like AT&T, Bell Labs. Look at Bell Labs, okay, what they're doing over there. Right. All right?
Bell Labs. I work for the phone companies, but not that one.
I know. This is something that we talked about earlier about the TV, okay? Ex-IBM employee reveals TV abandoned analog ban to make room for RFID chips. I don't know if you ever read that one. It is extremely
Which one? What's the chip? What's the
RFID chips. According to a former
I work for IBM too.
A 31-year, Amy. According to a former 31-year IBM employee, the highly publicized mandatory switch from analog to digital TV is mainly being done to free up analog frequencies and make room for scanners to read implantable RFID microchips and track people and products throughout the world.
Wow. That is really helpful. I saw something on that.
This is like 5 pages long.
Does anyone, I still have my black box. Does anyone still have that black box?
I do. I have 2 of them.
Yeah, I got one before they did the switch over because I had a very bad feeling. I didn't grow up with the internet. I was in the 80s, in the 90s where there was no internet and there was no cell phones. So I had no way of tracking this stuff. But thank you. That is really awesome. I've seen this, what you're talking about. And I know the company, it's not Verichip. Verichip is one of them out of Florida, that ex-military officers that are now contractors. And Halliburton, we still have to look at Halliburton, Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, that's been popping up that I wasn't even looking for, that just popped up on my screen. And so can you share some more about what many others have talked about is when you have your LED TV turned off, it's still watching you. Your cell phone is always recording whether you have it off or not.
Maybe Frank could share that. I sent him something about Edward Snowden and how he explains how you're tracked through your cell phone.
Oh,
it was very interesting. It was actually on Vice. Frank was on Vice.
Yeah, it's on Vice. Okay. I haven't had a chance actually to even entertain watching it yet.
What's Vice?
I didn't even know it existed. It's an HBO, like they do these documentaries. And like if I don't have, I don't have cable or anything anymore since I'm home, I'm put out of my home. So
that happened to me too.
Well, they're squeezing me. They're squeezing me, and God only knows. They're either going to kill me or they're going to make me a deal that I can't refuse. So
never give up. Never be fearful of death, because that's the one thing that they.
Oh man, it would be a relief.
It would be a relief. I feel the same way. But
can I just
God knows, and His angels, we're not going down like that.
What's a black box? I've heard the term before. What does it mean?
Before it switched over to digital, you had to have a black box in order to get any kind of TV whatsoever. You could get it from the government.
It was black, but it wasn't called the black box. It was called an HD. Yeah, it was called the HD.
It was called what?
HD.
It was a switch over to high definition. If you didn't have a high definition TV, okay, it didn't have to be a smart TV, just had to be a high definition TV. And the funny thing is, oh my God, my best friend's father was the Commissioner of New York. He was the inspector, the deputy inspector of New York Police Department, okay? He knew about this. He knew about this in the 80s. It could have even been the 70s, but no, he talked about it in the 80s. And he kept saying, don't buy a new TV. They're switching over. And he used to warn us all the time, don't buy a new TV. Yeah, just hold on to it. Wait, they're switching over. Yep.
So on the analog TV, you can still do that with Fox? Is that what you're saying? You can still use, without the flat screen, you can still use the analog TV with the box?
Yeah, but it works. It's horrible.
Yeah, supposedly
it's so difficult to work. You need an
rabbit ears. Yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't. You know what? It doesn't work good.
It just doesn't work.
No.
Some people in my building.
Everybody gave up on it and went to cable. It was a good way to transfer everybody to cable. They made money on cable. But I will tell you, I now have a TV. It's a smart TV, flat screen, and I use rabbit ears. And the picture is beautiful. But you only get the basic channel. And, sometimes they come in and sometimes they don't.
Well, that's okay. I tried to hook that up, and I was going to get rid of cable, and it did not. I didn't pull anything in, and it could have been because I didn't have a helper. But
you have to have a dish, don't you?
Something? I'll tell you something funny. I was experimenting for my mother, because my mother has her shows, her daytime shows. She watches talk shows, and she don't care. She don't care about cable. It's too sophisticated for her. It's more like she'll watch talk shows. I guess she thinks, it's like company for her or something. So she didn't need anything, even though when we were home, we had every channel with cable. But anyway, so I went to PC Richards, and I got the most expensive antenna you can buy. I brought it home, and it didn't work. It worked somewhat, okay? Worked somewhat. So I bought another antenna, like a midline antenna, and I brought that home, and it worked okay. But I had to keep repositioning it. Of course, when I hold on to it, it works fine, but I have to stand there with it in my hand. And my mother would say, oh, you had so much electricity going through you. Yeah, no kidding. So
yeah,
what do you think?
It's like Gilligan's Island, where he and then he could get the radio station.
So what do you think works? The cheap rabbit ears work the best. I get the most stations with the cheap rabbit ears. So I bring the $100 one. It was $92. I bring it back to PC Richards, and he goes, "This is the best you can get. What was wrong with it?" I said, you can't get Channel 7. He said, you know, he said to me, it's hit and miss. That's just what he said to me. It's hit and miss. So you really have to just try a bunch and be prepared to return them if they don't work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good advice. You.
Oh, sorry. I hear you have to just kind of play around with it and fine tune it.
Because I didn't know that the flat screen, even when it's off, it's still able to record you. So what I started to do in San Diego is I put electrical tape all around the outside of the screen and fill up as much of the screen with the electrical tape and with sheets. And I know that, you know, it would be harder for them to see through the sheet, which has the camera inside the TV. But the audio, I don't know how you can block that, but the visual, I should keep doing that, putting a cover over the TV at night. So I don't know how much that's going to help, but.
Oh, they have through the wall radar.
Yeah.
They have everything.
Well, I do that just because. Sorry.
You know,
I think I'm being prognosticated, and they think I'm going out for a drink. You know, not alcoholic, just a cold beverage.
Yeah.
So yeah, they do that. But yeah, I put something. I just put like a cloth over it because I like it on at night as background. You know, just so it's calming. I'm not a TV person, but I just like the background. And I put a cloth over it just so because I don't like the glare. And it also might, prevent what we don't like.
Hey, Frank, I was thinking of CNN on right now. I'm thinking we should reach out to Van Jones. He is very vocal. He's very connected with ACLU, which we know that's gone rogue too, but I think he has been very brazen to give his opinion because of his law degree. He's actually has a law license, and he's a commentator. He's the real deal. So there's very few of those. And I think if we can get his contact information and see if we can get him or his affiliates or foreign correspondents on our show, that would be great. So I'm going to look into that.
Okay, great. Fantastic. Okay, would anybody else like to offer or share something that's going on with their targeting? Or Anne has got a wealth of information.
No doubt.
She has a lot of it printed up, and she has piles and piles and piles. So she has done research since the beginning of this, and she has kept everything, and she is quite a source of information. So if you...
Yeah, I don't know how she does it because I can't even do the most mundane things to organize my thoughts and my domicile because of the brain fog. And it's energy weapons.
It's the only thing I can do. I can't do anything else. I'm so jealous of people that say, I go to the beach and I get relief. I live 10 feet from the beach, okay? 10 feet from the sand. I got tortured at the beach. They friggin' slammed me at the beach. They took every joy away from me, okay? I don't socialize. That's all I can do because the only thing I can do when I'm concentrating, okay, and I am just concentrating on my research, that's pretty much all I can do.
Yeah, I've got traumatic brain injury.
I heard, I was just a little kid when I heard about this, and there was a POW, right? A prisoner of war, and he was put in a cell, and it was absolutely, it was just nothing in the cell, and he was in there for years. And the only thing that he found in his cell was a screw. And you know what kept him alive? He would get his finger and he would make the screw go around, and he would just push the screw around and around and around. And I feel like that's like my research. I kept him alive. I was a kid when I read this. I had no idea that this could, this happens in third world countries.
Yeah, or science fiction, which, old science fiction. Yeah.
There's stuff happening now that you would see on Star Trek in the 60s.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
think, wow, that's really cool, but now you look and all that stuff is coming through.
Mm-hmm.
And they say that they're able to transport people. That's a hard one to swallow, but you know what? I wouldn't be a bit surprised.
It might be possible. It could be that they haven't done it yet and they're working on it and they want you to think they can, but like a lot of things, there's so much information out there and to really know. But
yes.
To keep all the atomic and molecular, the body.
Hey Frank, can I ask you, does water, being near water, is it considered a conductive?
Yes. Salt water is more of a conductor.
Okay, then that makes a lot of sense.
Distilled water is the least conductive of all H2O.
But when you're near water, physically near water, whether it's an ocean, whether it's a river, lake, stream, all those are conductive?
Yes, and it's quite conceivable that the motion of the stream itself produces some waveform when it's moving. When it's still, probably be another. But even your radial tires that are on your car when you're going down the highway, they produce a frequency because the radial tire has 360 degrees of cable in it, if you will.
That's right. That's right. I forget.
So they may be able to track that. So there are things.
Frank, remember when you saw them on trucks? They had like that piece of leather that would touch the ground that was probably for grounding?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember driving to Florida and seeing those. I looked everywhere. I wanted to connect something to like the back of my car to touch the ground, to ground it. I couldn't find it anywhere.
Well, that's a little dangerous in at least one respect.
Why?
Okay, it grounds your car, yes, but now you are susceptible to a lightning strike and having one really do some damage. Lightning will normally stay away from an automobile simply because it's sitting on rubber. But the minute
what about an airplane? I've heard them being struck in the air.
Yes, they have. They have on board airplanes devices to counteract that to a degree. But I've seen them take out an engine before and take out all the electronics in the wing, and fortunately not the avionics.
Well, I don't know if anybody's experienced this, but I've had vertigo and felt in a highly agitated state anytime I was on a flight. Like I couldn't contain my emotions or myself. I was afraid of something I wasn't afraid of. It was weird. I can't even explain it. And I'm not a fearful person, but I just felt almost like a veil over my thoughts, my brain, that I couldn't. If you ask my name, it's like a stroke that I've had several of those mini strokes. I'd have a difficult time even getting the words out, let alone the hyper, what do you call it? Hyper awareness. And the same thing when I was at the VA. I know that I had that same hyper-awareness, like traumatic brain injury in that hospital, which is why I don't want to bring my dog, my service dog there, because she went crazy. She sensed it more than I did. That was an indicator to me why I feel like my heart is racing and my mind is jumbled the whole time when I'm there. And that's not me. That's not, I know it's something else. And that's civilian hospitals too. It's not just military. I feel slightly agitated, and we're going to see more of this with the planes in the air and trying to take off in the air. Like the girl who was just came back from the sandbox in the Army, and she went off on the plane, and they tried to, comfort her instead of treat her like the enemy. She was trauma sharing with her seatmate what she was experiencing, and her brothers being Marine snipers, that she kept saying she was going to have them take everybody out. And that's what this stuff does to us. I can't even fathom going back to Michigan and taking my service dog on the plane with me, because she's going to be highly agitated. If I'm agitated, you can imagine what our animals are trying to contain themselves. So I don't even know how I'm going to do that, if I'm going to do that. So many animals have died in the cargo section. And I know because I worked for one of the major airlines that was known for those kind of things. Was always getting government money subsidized, and always laying off their pilots and their mechanics, and just always got a bad rap because of their tight connection with government military.
Okay, I see a lot of people that actually want to contribute. I'm trying to get to have everybody speak, or...
I'm going to mute myself, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure. Would anybody like to ask any questions of Amy, or contribute something that you've gone through, or ask me a question, or whatever? It's Sunday. Kick back.
Well, yeah, I'll ask about her dog. I mean, can't you drive? Is it out of the question to drive?
The question for me, can I? Yes and no. In 2015, when I was a whistleblower and I was camping at the Camp Pendleton military campgrounds, I should have known 2015 that the officer that was in the cottage next door, when I told him the kickoff of Jade Helm, he got really hostile with me, and so I started to change him to all the vets there. Be careful, this guy's a plant. He's part of Jade Helm. And sure enough, shortly after that, I was speeding, trying to bring my dog Memorial Day weekend, 2015, to the kennel for one day so I could gather my thoughts and information and printouts of Operation Jade Helm and helping them with their benefits and getting a service dog in San Diego. And that's when they pulled me over and put me in cuffs, took away my license because they said, I said I was going to file a complaint. He said I wasn't being arrested, and I said, I know that. I don't have any kind of criminal record, and you can see my DMV record. There's nothing alarming on there to indicate I'm a harm to myself or others. But he 5150'd me when I said I'm going to file a complaint against you, and he said I'm going to suspend your license. So he did on the spot. He extracted $6,000, overdrew my account $3,000 of my bank account, seized my car the next year, 2016, on Labor Day weekend on a Sunday at 8 o'clock in the morning, So I brought my 2-star general from Orange County down to the police station, and I said, you all are going to not just lose your jobs, you are going to go to prison for the rest of your natural born life for what you've done to me. You've messed with the wrong person. And my general here is a witness to things that have happened when I went to the Social Security hearing, and I outed the judge when I found out about her background. I outed VA cops at the VA. I outed CEOs.
Oh, you can't drive. So you can't drive because of your license?
That's right. They legally took it. I had my general write a letter about me. There's nothing wrong with me. I am not, a danger to myself or others. I'm not bipolar. I'm not crazy.
Get my number from Frank.
And it was all retaliatory. It was all retaliatory, including my apartment, my condo in 2011, 2012, when I hired a company to do mold inspection, and while I was sick all the time, and I didn't know because I couldn't see the mold, black mold, behind the wall.
I would want you to get my number from Frank because I had the same issue. I dealt with the mold, and I just had a doctor actually that I found out. She claimed that the EMF and the 5G radiation pinging, was making mold in houses grow three times full. She said, well, it was making it grow crazy, and it was very toxic and dangerous. Anyway, I'd like to talk to you about that. Get my number. My name's Laura. I'm in Colorado.
Okay, I wanted to remind everybody that so far on targetedmassachusetts.org, we have 2 people who have given us pictures and bios, and they are now posted up there. If you look at the navigation at the top of the page, you'll see targeted individuals. If you click on that link, you'll be brought to Paula and Lorraine. And Lorraine is actually from New Jersey. It's not our good Massachusetts Lorraine. And Paula is also from Massachusetts. So anybody who would like to post their picture and bio, you are welcome to a page. And it's a good idea because you are documenting your targeting along with your bio and a description of your targeting on this site. So it's a bold thing to do, but if you're targeted, you've been put through hell, and it won't seem like a bold thing to do at all. Any comments?
I'm getting on it, Frank. I promise.
Okay, yeah.
It's harder than it looks. It's harder than it looks. Get it together, but I'll get it together.
Okay, Matt left. That was a surprise. Okay, I guess we also have a survey going on. As soon as I hit 20 people, the survey will start. The survey was originally administered by Max Harrison Williams, the author of The Silent Massacre, from Louisiana. It's a very easy survey to do. It's for people who have V2K. So if you don't have V2K and just have gang stalking, perhaps you shouldn't register for it. But to register for it, go to the site, targetedmassachusetts.org, go to contacts, and in the explanation box, just put register. That's all you have to put there. And with a note if you like. And as soon as we hit 20, we'll start handing out that survey. 20 questions at a time, and I believe there are 100 questions. And you'll have like 2 weeks to get them all back to me. And if you don't get them back to me and it's repeated, you'll just be lopped off the list. But I'm really patient, so once they get to you, just fill them out. It's real easy to do, and you could just email them back to me as an attachment. That way there's no question about where they're going or who they're from. The results will be tabulated, and I will let you know who is, we'll say, 20 yeses and 19 yeses and one no.
Can I ask a favor?
Sure.
That was Lauren. Can everybody pray for her sister Lil, who's in intensive care in the ER? They attacked her kidneys, and she's still very young, in her 50s, in Indiana, where she is. Can everybody pray for Lil? And keep her in your thoughts and prayers to get healing from the attacks. And we know that Indiana is another highly satanic state, as well as Wisconsin. And a Wisconsin person too, if you can give her from Eau Claire. She can give her my number because I lived in Wisconsin too. I think it was Deb. I think her name is Deb.
Deb?
That's in Wisconsin. Yeah.
I think she was just on here a little while ago.
Yeah, she's a very wonderful lady.
Yeah.
Very wonderful.
Yeah, she had a lot to offer.
Yep, I'm just so grateful for each and every one of you that has a thread to bring to this, to make it a big, huge banner blanket. We're all bringing our threads and exposing them for everyone to see.
Well, that's going to happen. I love these billboards. That is such a fantastic idea.
Yeah, no, where are the billboards?
One of them I have a picture of that I actually displayed here today is on the 405. And
okay, yeah, right off the 405.
Yeah, Matthew Aaron was actually responsible for that. And
how did that go? When he went to the Pentagon yesterday.
I am not sure exactly what happened, but if you go to the Pentagon on a Saturday, I don't think not too much is going to happen.
Yeah, because we need to find out when they're in recess for the summer, because I still need to send my paperwork to my senator and another newer senator, Kamala Harris here.
Yeah,
that's the only way it's going to happen, that I'm going to get that license back, is to use them and use the media and blow their asses out of the water and not let them go. Make sure they go to prison.
Yeah, I can't remember what I was going to say. Let me see.
The billboards, are they in LA or where are they?
Yeah, well, they're off the 405 in San Diego, I believe.
But the 405 doesn't go to San Diego. It's Orange County in LA.
All right.
The 5 goes to San Diego. The 5 and the 8 go to San Diego.
Well, it's off the 405 so that you can see it. And it's really beautiful.
Do you have something posted? Do you have something posted so I can try to look it up?
Hey, Frank.
Yes.
Yeah, they right off the 4. I went and seen it, and I took pictures of it. It's right off the 405 freeway, right at LAX exit, right there. Right in front of the airport. Yep.
Okay, fantastic.
I know they're doing construction there in LA of some kind, so yeah, there's a lot of stuff
Yeah,
going
it's
on
really
in
it's
LA.
really nice.
Hey, is that Kimbrick?
No, this Kevin.
Oh, hey, Kevin.
Hey, Frank, you're so nice, man. The one you were talking about, I'm using it, you know what I'm saying, for my screen cover over on my phone.
Really?
Yeah. So I stored it, you know, for my screen phone cover, you know what I'm saying? So that's real nice, man.
Okay, well, that's fantastic to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, anybody that wants to register, they have to go to the site, go to the contact page, put their information in, and just put register in the explanation, and then go to the email address. You can email it to me, frank@targetedmassachusetts.org, and I will then post it along with the picture on the site. So we have 2 TIs.
Well, can I ask about the flyers? Where were the flyers given out?
Flyers were given out in Texas.
Texas,
And
okay. Do you know what part of Texas so I can look into
northern
that
Texas,
too?
I believe.
Norman, okay.
I don't have a city on
Do you
the
know
tip of
who
my
was
tongue.
do you know who was doing the handing out the flyers?
I'm not sure. I'm sure Targeted Justice is going through their notes.
Oh, right.
And
Just probably Midge.
now I'm not sure whether those were actually, whether they had the capability to print them from the site or whether they were actually mailed to these individuals.
And we need to connect the dots to the dark web to find out who supposedly accused us of lacing them with fentanyl.
Ashley's very good at that. Ashley's been down on the dark web
Okay.
a few times.
Can you give her my number too?
Sure. Yeah, I thought I
And,
did.
that contact, no, maybe you did and I didn't get a chance to write it down. I've been really scatterbrained lately. I was going to say, Ashley's in what state?
She is in Arkansas.
Arkansas. Because this woman, Lori Anderson, who is a Navy wife, or was a Navy wife, she's an investigative reporter that brought out about Operation Jade Helm when she was in Norfolk, Virginia, and then she moved to North Carolina. So she was pivotal in working with Alex Jones to put that information out about Operation Jade Helm in 2015 that we would not have known about the unlawful civil forfeiture of bank accounts, insurance, cars, technology, houses, any kind of property.
You now
bank
have the
account.
number.
Okay, what's the number? Or just
You
text
now
it
have
to
it.
me, it'll be great. All right. Cool. So yeah, the people in Illinois, you can pass my number on to them too. I've just been so scatterbrained. I'm sorry. And this new phone, I'm still trying to get used to this third Android phone that I've gone through with the that I'm still working, trying to help Tyler, and I believe this Francis Boyle guy and the virtual reality stuff that they're doing up near my VE in San Diego. I'm going to give it a shot. And, when this former Navy doctor that was also on the aircraft carriers that's overseas right now, he's coming back to Coronado, and they've had an 80% success rate on the based people with the virtual reality to rewire our brains to be able to function better.
It's funny you should mention virtual reality. Now, these 2 perps here have said in so many words that they are using virtual reality, and they've been using it for years. They've been in it for years and haven't come out. So they have effectively, I've said this before too, They have effectively driven themselves crazy with this because they don't have any sense of reality. The only reality they know is our reality, and they see us as unreal. So you can put this in, you can take this to the bank. We have driven them crazy. Okay?
Well, have you ever done the flight simulator? They let me go on the flight simulator that the pilots use in the Air Force on my base, and it wasn't wearing any goggles. It was just, a screen, and I had to, take off and land the plane. And unfortunately, I crashed every time into the lights on the runway. I just couldn't, it was more than I could handle.
Yeah.
But there's that too. Without the actual goggles, they have the flight simulator type of thing, like a Pac-Man machine where you're at the controls and you have a joystick and whatever. The same thing with the drones that they do in Air Force now. They sit in a bunker and got a joystick, and they hate it. They hate that they can't get up in the air and fly themselves and make them think that it's just like a game in that hyperlink, whatever state.
Yeah, I totally lost my train of thought, but
virtual reality we're talking about.
Virtual reality. Yeah.
So I know they're able to do the same thing, but we've got to take our power back some kind of way. And I've been
just take your life back.
Research.
Just tell them that you're taking your life back.
Trying to research. But here's the thing, Frank. I don't know if others have had this experience growing up in a very trauma-based environment. When I saw the movie Icon and the documentary, my life mirrored her life in so many ways. I didn't have a skating coach. I couldn't afford one. So I was all self-taught when I went to the Junior Olympics. But my mom, too, being an alcoholic and a pill popper, she beat me. And yes, I believe demonic possession does usher that in. And whether you want to believe it or not, it's your, it's your own opinion or your experience. But I literally, the spirit world attacking me when I was young and molested. And I believe the connection my older brother did to me, it was not an accident that he went to Germany and Austria with his buddy to pick up a $225,000 911 Porsche from the German factory, when we know Bavaria started the Illuminati and they're deeply rooted with CERN in all this garbage. So I believe that he went to the dark side way when I was just, 7 years old. They got him. Or he chose it, I know which. Because he has that sense of entitlement and narcissist, controlling personality that he beat me down spiritually, and even when he went to Germany, he was like, oh, the Muslims have taken over, and, it's so awful, and, I have to go through Black Lana when I go to Florida to my second house. And I'm like, you know what? You forgetting who the hell you're talking to. I'm the only one that has a spine in the family that calls you on your shit, that you are wrong. Do not ever speak like that. I will hang up and curse you. I will not put up with your bullshit. So don't even think you're going to go there and talk that talk. I said, and about the Muslims in Europe, I've been to Europe. They do live quietly. They're not a bunch of radicals. There are some that are radicals, just like in our own government, the white supremacists, which are our intel people. So I said, our biggest worry here in the United States is not the Muslims. No. It's the Asians, because there's Asian armies when Jada happened, and Russian soldiers that were part of that UN unlawful civil forfeiture of people's property. It's the Asians. They're kicking us off our own land in China, and they are leaving their polluted, destructive, horrible environment and taking over ours and going to kick us out of our own country. It is happening. They own all the national parks, all the monuments. They own the property that you thought you have a deed and a title to your property. You don't really own it because eminent domain and civil forfeiture says, oh, we'll just come in the middle of the night with our SWAT team at 3 in the morning, and you won't even know what hit you. You'll be loaded on a bus and brought to a FEMA camp, and bye-bye, never to be heard from again. So we are unafraid, and we're going to call them out on it.
Yeah, that's something we should look into more
every
closely.
Person that was missing, every person was missing, and everyone
FEMA
that experienced having to
camps.
work at the FEMA camps, we need to find those individuals that have left the dark side, that didn't realize how awful the job that they thought they were doing was so honorable, that they lied to them saying that we're criminals when we're not. But these young, wet behind the ears soldiers, they don't know what they don't know. So we have to be the ones to get to them and inform them. So what, when, where, how, why, and the shock and awe that's going to happen when they find out the real deal.
Yep. Is there anybody else that would like to contribute?
Hey, Frank, I don't know if I'm muted or you can hear me.
I can hear you.
I need to hang up the phone now, but I wasn't clear. What I mentioned the Lockheed Hulk exoskeleton for body and mind enhancement. I didn't say. I just automatically assumed you would know that the exoskeleton is scaled to biology and then implanted, and then the human implant. But I think it's not obvious. So I wanted to mention that before going.
Yeah, I wanted to ask.
You knew that, didn't you?
Exoskeleton is usually
they pretend that they show it as an external device. It's not. It's scaled to biology and implanted. Right, yeah, they showed soldiers and everything.
An exoskeleton, which usually appears on insects, and an endoskeleton, which usually appears in mammals, certain reptiles, and whatnot.
Yeah, the Lockheed and the military, the Pentagon, they show it as an external device, with soldiers leaping here and there with this external paraphernalia on them. So I wanted to tell you, just to be very clear on that, it's scaled to biology and implanted as a system. Okay?
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night now. Okay, is there anybody else that would like to offer anything? Because we're going to be leaving this call shortly at 8 o'clock. And I'll tell you why we're going between red and green on the board. So if we hit red, I get totally cut off. So is there anybody else that would like to offer?
What does that mean, red?
Oh, red means the bandwidth is gone, and we're actually losing. I'm losing connection with GoToMeeting. So.
Oh, that's right, because it's Sunday. That's when they update the computers and the phones crash. The internet crashes.
Yeah, that's when all the neat stuff happens. But it's hanging in the green now, so I'm not going to worry about it.
That's good.
So this has been a really great call today. I want to thank everybody who has participated. Got a lot of new information. And anybody.
Can I share one thing?
Can I finish just for a second? I just wanted to say that anybody who would like to have a copy of the call, it will be posted probably sometime later on this evening. And if you want it mailed to you, we can do that too. So that's always an option. Just email me at frank@targetedmassachusetts.org and you can get a copy of that. either in YouTube format or in the base format, just regular MP3 or MP4.
This movie called The Whistleblower, and it's got 89% likes on the movie. It's a true documentary of female human trafficking that really happened. The actor is Rachel Weisz. She's been in a lot of different sci-fi movies, and she was in the Constantine movie and a lot of others. But this really happened in Bosnia, where us as security contractors went over there, and they were offering up the women that they rounded up and disappeared from their families, kidnapped them, and basically let the U.S.-led and foreign-led freedom fighters, or whatever you want to call them, let them have their way. 2010 says 2010 Canadian, German, American biographical crime drama film. Ripped from the headlines thriller inspired by actual events. Kathy Blavov, I can't pronounce it, Bolavuk, and Rachel Weisz. She's from Nebraska. That's what the movie depicts. And in that part of the movie, there was a representative from the UK, a woman that was very instrumental in bringing it to light. So what happened there is happening here under a different guise, and whether you're male or female.
Yeah, I wrote a short story some time ago, and it was titled The Mirror, and it sets out to explain the fact that everybody, or most everybody in these foreign countries like Russia, China, or the UK, Australia, everybody goes to work. Everybody comes home the same way we do. They sit down in front of their television the same way we do, or sit down and everything's the same, watching what their government's doing and getting upset with their government the same way that we are. Mm-hmm. So it's not the people.
That's why we've got a dog in the fight. They've got a dog in the fight.
Yeah, it's very important to consider all facts, but I think we've settled into one thing today. We're dealing with satellite terrorists. And Sue Maya brought up a point that seals it, okay? And that's the fact that your broadcasting companies can monitor literally thousands of customers with a satellite. So we are thousands of TIs. So we can be monitored and theoretically shot with a laser of sound. Obviously, a laser is the highest frequency. The higher the frequency, the closer you get towards visible light. So what we are experiencing is actually being lased. It's kind of an interesting process. It took them, I want to say, 10 years or better to get a ruby to laze. They finally perfected it. And it was a big hush-hush for a long time. But if you look on YouTube, you'll find, I'm sure, a number of pages that show communication by laser. You can build them yourself. I'm almost positive that, yeah, I know of one for sure that's on there. And he shows communicating with his daughter across the backyard by laser. No radio. It's actually
Really?
a small laser.
Wow, this is cool.
Yeah, it is really good. It's, if I can find the YouTube, I will publish it so that you can see it. But he did it with simple parts, I think. Simple pieces like out of, I want to say a television remote. And he built this device and he could communicate with his daughter across the yard via laser. So.
Not to get too off topic here, but something that you had mentioned, Frank, and others have mentioned about these insurance policies that when you're born in a hospital, they can do anything with that birth certificate. They have rights to you and profit off of you. It says if it's unconstitutional to the government to force U.S. citizens under Obamacare, marked as one of the first times in U.S. history of the United States, forced American citizens to purchase insurance. And we know it happened long before Obama, but he just made it official. And so I'd like to think that Trump is repealing Obamacare with good intentions.
Oh,
but I don't know that.
It seems like, to me, that every time I turned on the news since Obama came into office, I was disgusted totally with the government, the country, everything. And that was shared by many, many people. And I don't get that feeling anymore when I turn on the news. So something must be going well. Because you don't give away $6 trillion. History is going to show him probably as the worst president. And that's too bad.
I still think Bush Sr. is the worst, that was responsible for so many things, the Kennedys, 9/11, bio
Yeah,
warfare.
but these are blatant things. I mean, you can see. I mean, you don't even have to look for a cover-up. These things that Obama did are right out in the open.
Yes, you're right.
I mean, how many people got $600 checks in the mail? Oh, I don't know. No? Well, it showed up somewhere. There's a tax relief or something.
You're right. And there is something called untapped money that you can have access to, but you're giving up some kind of rights when you do tap into that, if you are even successful to do that. Unclaimed money.
Never unclaimed money?
Yeah, unclaimed money. So after a certain period of time, if you don't claim it, then it goes into the general fund.
I see. Yeah, that's curious. They claim there's billions of dollars in banks that is actually unclaimed funds.
Everybody should look that up within their family, within themselves, because you're due that. That is yours. You just don't know about it, and they're hoping that you don't know about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Frank.
Yes.
Oh, look, remember when I texted you a couple of days ago? Remember I told you I want to ask you something? Yeah, what I'm thinking right now. Because I know you know a lot about this, and if anybody else experienced this, I would like for them to, let me know right now before we get cut off the conference call. Like every night, like right when I get ready to go to sleep, I can feel, I can feel them hit me or whatever. and I can feel all kind of, like energy or whatever they do, going all in my body. You know what I mean? I move, I can't, you know what I mean, be still. I gotta move, get on this side of the bed, then they hit me again. I move and get off. You know what I mean? Whatever. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So, but then every night right before I go to bed, when they be hitting me, I smell like flesh. Like it be seeing and smelling like my flesh is burning. You know what I mean? It'd be like a flesh smell, like if you get a lighter, like when you was a kid, people get a lighter and like burn, picks up to like the palm of your hand or whatever, that flesh smell. That's the smell I be getting like every night, for just a minute or two, you know what I mean, when they hitting me. So, can you tell me what is that, or is it just, I mean, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Okay, they can mess with your olfactory nerves. They have access to them. The olfactory nerves are joined in part to the nerves on your tongue, okay? So they can actually place a smell, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'm not really burning or my insides or nothing really burning or nothing like that.
Nope.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
Okay, yeah, because that'd be scaring the hell out of me, man. I don't feel no pain or nothing, but you know what I mean. I just be uncomfortable. I can feel like, you know what I mean, energy or whatever kind of weapons they be using. I can, you can feel the shit literally, hitting you and going inside of your body. You know what I'm saying?
If you got
and then I smell that smell. If it smell like smell like my flesh is burning or something.
All right. If you got to the point where you were smelling flesh burning, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Oh yeah, you automatically just
because you would have
you'll croak right then and there on the spot, like your organs or something, huh?
No, you'd go septic immediately, maybe a day or so afterwards, because that's actually dead tissue now, wherever it is. So I've never heard of it. I've never experienced it. I know for a fact that I've heard from hundreds of TIs about them having the ability to place or part of hypnosis, actually, from all the way from Nazi Germany, to actually make you smell. They can make a rose smell like dog poop, if you will.
Yeah, they did. I didn't smelled all kind of stuff before. You know what I'm saying? I went to a police station before, and I used the restroom, and I came out, and the whole hallway, it was like in the middle of the night because gang stalkers was following me everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Everywhere. So I went to the police station. Right. This was last year, and then I went inside. I mean, the beginning of this year. So then I went inside the police station, and I could tell he was already waiting on me. Whatever. You know what I mean? I could tell the look in his eyes, but he was like, yeah, I told him, I ain't telling him I was a target individual, none of that, but I just told him people stalking me, a lot of people, whatever, following me or whatever. And I was like, yeah, I was like, yeah, I'm trying to get me a ride, you know what I'm saying, home. He said, yeah, you can stay here all night till in the morning if you want to, right up in the, waiting area, right? And so I said, okay. So I'm gonna wait. It was about 3 a.m. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna wait till it get daylight, and I'm gonna call my cousin or somebody to come pick me up. And so I went to use the restroom. I came out, and soon I came out, it was like quiet when a soul in there. It was quiet, so I walked out, and I'm talking about, man, it smelled like dead bodies or something, or a skunk or something, right? And literally, and it was a small like police station too. It talking about like it literally smelled, and then I couldn't even walk straight. You know what I'm saying? I was like about to just fall. I mean, my balance was all off. You know what I'm saying? I started like walking sideways, but I'm trying to walk straight, but I'm walking sideways, about to literally fall. And I was like real dizzy, you know what I'm saying? And then I'm gonna have to call the ambulance from the damn police station. Then when I went to the hospital, they was waiting on me at the hospital too, the gang stalkers and everything else. But yeah, so I did smell some horrible things too, for sure. Hello?
There's someone, Frank, that we should get on your show. His name is Andrew Sprung, Sprung, and he exposes, I don't know his background, he exposes he says ex post factoid through the Atlantic and the New Republic about this illegal insurance and many other insurances that are unconstitutional, whether it's insurance on your car, insurance on your house, life insurance. He exposes this stuff. Talks about, he got a 2016 Digital Media Award. He holds a PhD in English literature from the University of Rochester.
See if you can get the information to me, Amy, because I have to close this call.
Certainly.
All right, and God bless you all.
Yeah. All right, thanks, Frank. Yeah, they had bumped me off. I had just called back right now.
Yep, God bless TIs all over the world. Kevin, give me a call. Okay, Renata has a call airing right now. And
wonderful.
Neil has a call at 8:30. So
what's Renata's call here?
Yep. So
Frank, I just want to say hi.
Hi, how you doing?
It's Paula.
Hi, Paula.
I was listening, but I got a lot of noise in the background, so I was muted.
Okay.
I just wanted to say hi, let you know I was on.
All right.
Okay.
Love you all. God bless.
Frank, what's Renata's number?
I am not sure, hon. It might be on our site. I'm not sure. If it isn't, it will be. When you find out the numbers, text them to me, please, so I can check. Okay, I've got to go, folks. God bless.
Thank you.
Bye.